Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
Anton Warman, a man from Sweden, found a house in Tokyo, Japan. He was a model who had started renovating homes. He loved Japan and had moved there in 2018. This house was in a very good area called Sangenjaya, close to Shibuya Crossing, a famous place. Houses here are usually very expensive. But Anton saw an old house that was empty. Its paint was coming off, and the garden was very wild. The broken windows looked like sad, empty eyes. The house had been empty for 10 years. What surprised him most was how quiet it was. Anton was very surprised. This was not how real estate usually worked in Tokyo. How could a house in such a prime location be empty and so cheap? He talked to a neighbor and found the owners. They were the children of the old people who had lived there before. The children wanted to sell the house for only $54,000. This was a very low price for Tokyo, much less than he expected. When Anton first went inside, the house was not clean or empty. It was like stepping into a time capsule. The old parents had passed away, and their children had left everything inside. Rooms were full of possessions from many decades. Old photos were still on tables. Moldy clothes and forgotten family treasures were everywhere. In the kitchen, dishes were still in the sink. It looked as if the owners had just left and never returned. Anton had found one of Japan's 9 million Akiya. This Japanese word means empty house. These empty houses are a big puzzle. They are all over Japan, from busy city neighborhoods to small mountain villages where few people live. In many countries, people struggle to find homes because there are not enough. But in Japan, it is the opposite. There are so many empty houses that many are even given away for free. Anton had grown up renovating old houses with his father in Sweden. He had already finished several house projects in Japan. But this house felt different. It was in a perfect spot, and sunlight came into its rooms. It whispered possibilities, even with its damaged walls and wood eaten by termites. Anton spent the next 15 months working on the house. He put in 1,500 hours of hard work. He had to carry old things and trash to the dump, piece by piece. He learned how the sun moved through the rooms and which original parts of the house were important to keep. He said, "I lived for that house for a year." The house changed a lot. After many months, it looked new and modern. It had clean lines and natural materials, honoring the building's history. Anton now rents the house. People can stay there for about $500 a night. He earns about $11,000 each month from the rent. This money pays for the house and helps keep a part of Tokyo's architectural history alive. Anton's success story makes people wonder. It raises a big question about Japan's situation today. In a world where many people cannot find a good home, how can a rich country like Japan have millions of houses that nobody wants? This is a puzzling problem that needs to be understood. 2. The empty houses. Japan faces a big and growing problem: empty houses. These houses are known as Akiya. There are many of them across the country. Today, there are 9 million Akiya in Japan. This is a very large number, meaning that almost 14% of all houses are standing empty. To help you understand this, it is like having enough empty homes to house the entire population of a country like Austria. These empty houses are everywhere, from busy city areas to quiet mountain villages. They sit empty, slowly getting old and damaged by weather and time. The main reason for these empty houses is a big change happening with Japan's people. The country is getting smaller and its population is growing older. Experts call this a demographic crisis. The number of babies being born each year is very low. It is at a record low now, and it has been going down for many years. In a recent year, fewer than 700,000 babies were born. This was the lowest number ever recorded. At the same time, the number of people dying is high. In the same year, over 1.6 million people passed away. This means that each year, nearly 1 million fewer people live in Japan. This is not a quick change. It is a long-term trend that started many decades ago. The country's birth rate is much lower than what is needed for the population to stay the same size. This population change leads to a sad situation known in Japan as lonely deaths, or kodokushi. This happens when older people die alone in their homes. Sometimes their bodies are not found for weeks or even months. These are often older individuals who lived alone after their partners passed away. Their adult children might have moved to big cities far away for work or other reasons. When a person dies alone like this, their property often enters a difficult situation. Relatives, who might live far away, struggle with the legal and emotional aspects of inheritance. The house might be full of their loved ones' belongings, making it hard to clear out. There can also be legal difficulties in deciding who truly owns the property or how to manage it. Because of these challenges, the empty houses can stay in a legal limbo for many years, sometimes even decades, with no one taking care of them. This creates more and more empty homes across the country. 3. People leave small towns. Young people in Japan often move away from small towns and villages. They go to big cities like Tokyo, Osaka, and other large urban areas. They seek better jobs, education, and more opportunities that are hard to find in the countryside. This movement leaves many rural areas with fewer people. The people who stay are often older. Their adult children have left, and their family homes become empty. This trend makes many villages and small towns quieter and emptier. It creates a clear difference between busy cities and the slowly fading countryside. One clear example is Nagoro, a small village in a mountainous area. Today, very few people live there. A woman named Tsukimi Ayano lives in Nagoro. She has made more than 350 life-size dolls. She places these dolls throughout the village. Each doll represents a person who used to live there but has moved away or died. The dolls sit on benches, stand in fields, and even occupy the classrooms of the abandoned school. They create an unusual but touching picture of a community that once was full of life. Nagora's population has now fallen to less than 30 residents. This pattern happens across many parts of rural Japan. Schools that once rang with children's laughter now stand empty and closed forever. Hospitals also close because there are not enough patients to keep them open. Shops shut down when their customers leave, and their businesses can no longer survive. Since 2000, over 8,500 public schools have closed across the country. These closures are not just about buildings, they mark the slow disappearance of entire communities. When young people leave, the small towns become much less lively. It becomes very hard for the older people who remain. They might have to travel very far for basic needs like seeing a doctor or buying groceries. The empty houses stand as a silent reminder of the people who are no longer there. This movement from rural areas to big cities is a major reason for the millions of empty homes seen across Japan today. 4. Old homes are not wanted. Japanese people have a distinct way of thinking about homes. For many in Japan, there is a strong preference for new houses rather than old ones. This attitude stands in stark contrast to many Western countries, such as those in Europe or North America. In those places, older properties, especially those with historical charm or unique architecture, often gain value over time and are highly sought after, sometimes fetching premium prices. In Japan, however, the situation is quite different. A typical house in Japan quickly loses its financial worth. Within approximately 30 years, the physical structure of the house often becomes almost worthless in terms of market value. At that point, the value primarily lies in the land the house sits upon, rather than the building itself. This system, where houses depreciate much like automobiles, emerged partly from Japan's post-war reconstruction policies and the common practices of its strong building industry, which frequently encourages new construction. Several practical concerns also contribute to this preference for new homes. Japan experiences many earthquakes regularly. Because of this, building codes are constantly updated and become stricter over time to ensure safety. Newer homes are built to these very latest robust standards, which makes people feel more secure living in them. Older homes, built under previous codes, might not be seen as equally safe in comparison, leading to worries about their stability during a major tremor. This focus on modern safety can make older properties undesirable. When families inherit an old house, perhaps after elderly parents pass away, this situation can become a significant burden. Inheriting an old property often feels less like receiving a valuable asset and more like taking on a financial problem or even a debt. The cost to demolish an old house in Japan is substantial, typically ranging between $20,000 and $50,000. Additionally, maintaining an inherited property involves ongoing tax obligations and expenses for upkeep, even if no one lives there. If the inherited house has very little value on the current market and the family has no plans to live in it or use it, they face a difficult economic decision. It often becomes easier and more financially sensible for families to simply abandon the property. They may find it impossible to sell the old house due to its low value and the high cost of renovation for a potential buyer, and tearing it down themselves is too expensive. This leads to the house sitting empty, slowly falling into disrepair. These individual decisions, made by millions of families dealing with inherited properties, contribute significantly to Japan's growing number of empty houses, known as Akiya. Each neglected property stands as a testament to the complex choices families make when faced with costly, unwanted old homes. This cultural and economic reality is a key reason why so many houses remain empty across the country. 5. A problem for the neighbors. Abandoned houses are more than just empty buildings. They are dangerous for communities. In Japan, earthquakes happen often. Old, empty houses are not strong. They can fall down easily during an earthquake. When this happens, they can block roads. This makes it very hard for emergency services, like ambulances, to reach people who need help. These collapsed houses can also hit and damage houses next door, making more problems for neighbors. Empty houses are also a big fire risk. Dry plants and rubbish often fill these properties. Sometimes people might go inside and use candles or make small fires to stay warm. If a fire starts in an empty house, it can spread very fast to other homes, especially in crowded areas. This puts many families in danger. Beyond these physical dangers, empty homes hurt neighborhoods in other ways. When many houses are empty, the value of the other homes in that area goes down. This means that if people want to sell their house, they cannot get much money for it. Local shops and businesses start to lose customers because fewer people live there. So they might close down. Schools may also close when families leave. This leads to a loss of services, like banks and post offices. This makes life harder for the people who still live there. Neighborhoods can feel sad and empty. Local governments want to help, but it is very difficult. Japanese laws about property are strict. To do something with an abandoned house, the government often needs to find the owners. Sometimes the owners have died many years ago, and their family members live far away. Finding these family members can take a long time, sometimes years. Even after finding them, the government needs their permission to remove the house. Also, pulling down an old house is very expensive. It can cost thousands of dollars. Many local governments do not have enough money for this. There are also old tax rules. These rules sometimes make it cheaper for owners to just leave an old house empty rather than pay to demolish it. Because of these reasons, many empty houses just stay empty, causing problems for the neighbors and the whole community. 6. A new life for old houses. While Japan has many empty houses, an unexpected group of buyers is now showing interest. These are people from other countries. They see something special in these old homes. They are attracted by the low prices and the unique Japanese style of the buildings. These foreigners are buying Akiya and giving them a new life. One good example is Sam King, a man from Britain. He lived in Japan for 7 years and married a Japanese woman named Nanami. The couple decided to buy an Akiya in a quiet mountain area. They paid about $100,000 for a big, traditional house. This was much cheaper than a small apartment in Tokyo. Sam and Nanami were happy to make an old house useful again. They felt good about helping to keep Japanese building history alive. Many things are helping this trend grow. Social media, like YouTube, shows videos of people fixing up Akiya. These videos show how an old house can look new and beautiful after hard work. This makes more people from other countries interested in buying. Also, the Japanese yen is now weak. This means money from other countries can buy more in Japan. This makes buying an Akiya a good deal for foreigners. Japan also has many tourists. These visitors want to stay in traditional Japanese houses. So, many people buy Akiya and turn them into guest houses. Anton Warman, the man from Chapter 1, changed his Akiya in Tokyo into a successful guest house. It now earns a lot of money from tourists. This shows that renovated Akiya can be very good for business. Some foreign buyers are even starting businesses, turning old houses into cafes or places for visitors to learn about local culture. The weak yen makes these business ideas even more attractive for international investors. Local Japanese people often welcome these foreign buyers. They see them as helpers for their communities. These new owners spend money on fixing the houses. They hire local workers and craftspeople. This helps local businesses and creates jobs in places where many jobs have disappeared. Japanese artists find new work using old building skills. This helps to keep important traditional building methods alive. However, this trend is still small. It involves only a few thousand houses compared to Japan's millions of empty homes. So it cannot solve the whole problem for the country. Some Akiya are also too old or too broken to fix. They need too much money to make them safe and useful again. It can also be hard to find people with the right skills to fix traditional Japanese houses. But these foreign buyers do show something important. They show that these unwanted houses have value. They challenge the idea that old Japanese houses are not worth anything. 7. A small change. Foreign people who buy empty houses in Japan bring important benefits to local communities. When they buy an old Akiya, they often spend a lot of money to make it new and safe again. This investment helps local businesses and creates jobs for many people. They hire local builders, plumbers, electricians, and special craftspeople. These local workers use their skills to renovate the houses, sometimes using traditional Japanese building methods. This work helps to keep important and old skills alive in areas where jobs might be hard to find. The interest from these foreign buyers is also slowly changing how some Japanese people think about old houses. For a long time, many Japanese people did not want old homes, preferring new ones. But now they see foreign people finding great value in these old properties, even when they seem worthless. Many videos online show beautiful old Japanese houses being completely transformed by foreign owners. This helps more Japanese people see that old houses can be very charming and useful with a lot of character. Because of this new view, some young Japanese couples are now looking at Akiya as a choice for their own homes instead of always buying new ones. They see the chance to have a unique home with a rich history. However, this positive trend is not big enough to solve Japan's very large problem with empty houses. There are about 9 million empty homes across the country. Only some thousands of these houses are being bought and fixed by foreign people each year. This is a very small number when compared to the millions of available properties. The problem of new empty houses appearing is growing faster than these few buyers can help. So while foreign buyers are doing good things for specific towns and homes, they cannot solve the whole national problem alone. The Japanese government is fully aware of the many empty houses and their challenges. They are also starting to create programs to help solve this issue. For example, some towns now have Akiya banks. These are special lists or websites that help connect people who want to buy an empty house with the current owners. These banks make it easier for buyers to find properties. The government also offers some financial help or special rules to make it cheaper and easier to buy or fix these houses. These steps show that Japan is working to find more ways to deal with its increasing number of empty homes and bring life back to old neighborhoods. 8. The future of Japan. The empty houses, called Akiya, are more than just buildings without people. They are a big symbol of deep problems in Japan. They show that the country faces a future that is not clear. This problem makes Japan ask difficult questions. These questions are about family, about communities, and about what it means to be Japanese. Japan's Prime Minister, Fumio Kishida, has said that the country is on the brink of not being able to function as a society. This strong warning shows how serious the problem is. The many empty houses are proof of this. They are there because fewer babies are born and people move away from small towns. Also, people often prefer new houses, making old ones lose value quickly. The problem of Akiya is linked to many issues. It comes from choices made in the past about building cities, changes in how families live, and money systems that make it easy to leave homes empty. These decisions, made over many years, have now created a very big problem for Japan. But there are also small signs of hope. Foreign people who buy and fix old houses show a new way to think about homes and communities. They are investing time and money in houses that many Japanese people thought were worthless. This shows different ways to value old buildings and to help communities grow. The Japanese government is also trying to help. They are giving money to families who have children. They are making it easier for people from other countries to come to Japan. Some places have Akiya banks. These banks help match empty houses with people who want to buy them. This makes the process much faster. Also, there are plans to make rural areas better, with faster internet and offices for remote work. This tries to make small towns more attractive for young families. The stories of people like Anton and Sam who fixed old houses are inspiring. They show that old homes can have new life. These stories, seen on social media, are slowly changing how some Japanese people see old houses. Some young Japanese couples are now choosing to fix old houses instead of buying new ones. This is a small but important change. Also, fixing old houses is good for the environment. It uses less new material than building new homes. This helps Japan reach its goals for a cleaner planet. However, the problem of empty houses is still very big. Japan's population is getting smaller very quickly. New empty houses appear faster than old ones can be fixed. Many Japanese people still like new houses more than old ones. Small towns continue to lose shops and hospitals. Other countries in Asia, like South Korea and China, are also seeing their population shrink. This means Japan's problem might be a sign of what will happen in other parts of the world. The empty houses make us ask hard questions. Should money be spent on towns that people are leaving? What do children owe to the towns where they grew up? How can society let people move freely, but also keep communities strong? The future of these empty houses and the future of Japan depends on the answers to these questions. It depends on whether Japan can find reasons for people to have more children. It depends on whether people start to value communities more than just moving for work. It depends on finding new ways for small towns to live. The story of the Akiya is a story about what it means to call a place home. What do you think is the most important thing for Japan to do to help its empty houses problem?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.